As you know, I'm Batman. I'll take the Chicago hat off. Although I love the flag of Chicago. You could tell when it was up. To Fitness Gal, the Assyrian, the one from the Assyrian Church of the East. I don't believe you guys are Nestorians. Although Nestorius took refuge in the Sasanian Empire. I welcome you to attend our services. The There are many Assyrians that I know that attend Orthodox services. Um, some of them become um, communicants, others just like being around other Arabs or just like being around the ancient church. Continuing on with the Gospel of Thomas, right? Left around off at around 20, right? Uh, the disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us what the kingdom of heaven is like." And he said to them, "It is like," well, we already went through that. 21. And Mary said to Jesus, "Who are thy apostles like?" He said, "They are like little children dwelling in a field which is not theirs. When the owner of the field comes, they will say, 'Yield up to us our field.' They are naked before them to yield it up to them, to give it back to give back their field. Therefore I say, if the master of the house knows that the thief is coming, he will keep watch. Before he comes, he will not let him dig into his house of his kingdom to carry off his vessels. You then be watchful against the world. Gird your loins with strength, that the brigands may not find a way to come at you, since the advantage for which you look they will find. May there be among you men of understanding. When the fruit was ripe, he came quickly, his sickle in hand, and reaped it. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. That sounds like the demiurge. Oh, and since truth be told, in those other legalists and Judaizers believe that smoking is a sin, and I quit smoking, but I'm going to smoke a cigarette to show that it is not a sin. What goes into a man cannot make him unclean. Jesus saw some infants at the breast. He said to his disciples, "These little ones at the breast are like those who enter the kingdom." You can tell this is heavily plagiarized from the other Gospels. That's why many people put it in the 3rd century. I think it's probably from about 140, 150, but I probably could be wrong. It's probably from the 3rd century, from the 200s. Um, These little ones at the breasts are like those who enter the kingdom of heaven. They said to him, If we are, if we, if we then be children, shall we enter the kingdom? Jesus said to them, When you make the two one, and when you make the inside as outside, and the outside as inside, and the upper side as the lower, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, that male be not male, and the female female. When you make eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in the place of a hand, and a foot in the place of a foot, the image in the place of an image, then you shall enter the kingdom. Nonsense. So is he talking about being androgynous and childlike, or is he talking about marriage, or actually physically being in the image of God? 23. Jesus said, and he's talking to infants that were breastfeeding. That's nuts. Jesus said, I shall come and choose you 1 out of 1,000 and 2 out of 10,000. Then shall as a single one stand. See, Gnosticism, the vast majority of people are going to hell. His disciples said, teach us concerning the place where thou art, for it is necessary for us to seek after it. He said to them, he that hath ears, let him hear. There is light within a man of light, and it gives light to the whole world. If it does not give light, there is darkness. See, Christ isn't the light of the world. It's in some men, not every man, but there's darkness in some men too. Jesus said, love thy brother as thy soul. Keep him as the apple of thine eye. Again, total plagiarism. Love thy brother. Of course, everybody loves their brother. It's loving your neighbor and loving your enemy and loving the foreigner. It's hard. Loving your brother is easy. But again, these were sectarian, celibate, Gnostic men that lived in monasteries in the desert. Jesus said, the mote which is in your brother's eye thou seest, but the beam which is in thine eye thou seest not. When thou dost cast out the beam from thine own eye, then wilt thou cast out the mote from thy brother's eye. Totally plagiarized from Matthew, completely, and it's not even as good. It's a bad paraphrasing of a great saying. Jesus said, if you fast not from the world, you will find not the kingdom. If you keep not the Sabbath as Sabbath, you will not see the Father. Jesus Christ is the Sabbath, by the way. Jesus said, I stood in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in flesh. I found them all drunk. I found none among them thirsting, and my soul was afflicted for the sons of men, for they are blind in their heart, and they do not see. For empty came they into the world, seeking also to depart empty from the world. But now they are drunk. When they have thrown off their wine, then will they repent? No question mark at the end of that. Usually you repent before you stop sinning. FYI. Jesus said, if the flesh has come into being because of the Spirit, it is a marvel. But if the Spirit has come into being because of the body, it is a marvel of marvels. But as for me, I marvel at this, how great wealth has settled in this poverty. And then 30, Jesus said, where are 3 gods? There are gods. Where are 2 or 1? I am with him. And I'll even go on. Jesus said, no prophet is acceptable in his own village. A physician does not heal those who know him. Jesus said, a city that is built on a high mountain and fortified cannot fall, nor can it remain hidden. Yeah, you can tell that these are botched. I mean, no prophet is accepted in his own village. Again, from Mark. And the thing is, the saying is, physician, heal thyself. And the city built on a high mountain, a fortified, cannot fall, but it cannot remain hidden. That's about shining city on a hill, and you don't put a lamp underneath a basket. So I'll go through the rest of this, but yeah, it's Sang's Gospel of Thomas. I don't see what people see in it, and it's obvious extremely late forgery. But I'll get into the more interesting Gnostic stuff. Peace to you. And Fitness Girl, I invite you to the Antiochian Orthodox Church.